with people about purposes, the Rotarian principle of service above self. It just seems to me that, as we gather here today and reflect on events in our lives, that so much of the real joy and the real meaning is of giving of our self, our time and talents. So bow your heads for a minute, please. Spirit, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together in Rotary Fellowship and to be mindful of our blessings and our ability to share them with others. Thank you.
Okay, Joe Stanford. I'm going to click on. Let's see, okay. Yeah, he sings the Pledge of Allegiance. He sings everything. You name it, he can sing it. He's going to lead us in the pledge.
This time we're speaking, please. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Liberty and justice for all.
The President will lead us in the battle hymn. She likes.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Kristen is in trial, so I'm going to, you've got something. Our distinguished executive secretary will be, you're going to welcome Rotarian?
I'll do the whole thing if you want.
Oh, all right. So all those who have guests, please stand and make the appropriate introduction.
I'll be back in a moment. But yes, we're visiting Rotarians. Oh yeah, Rotarians. That's fine.
Mr. President, I'm pleased to bring back Elias Velasquez, who's a native here from Escondido, but he's serving as my intern as the mayor.
Mr. President, I'm pleased to introduce David Trividar, President of Quiet Curtains, a locally owned business here in Escondido. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. I'm going to have two introductions. First one, Elizabeth Wood is visiting for the second time today, and welcome her, please.
Gives me, Mr. President, fellow Rotarians, gives me pleasure today to introduce Robert Gilson, who this is the second time that he has been introduced, and he was surprised at that. But we introduce him each day until he gets to be a member. So, but I should also add that Robert was hired in the summertime while I was on vacation at Palomar College, and he was hired in spite of my being present. But but he and I have taught together for how many years? I don't remember. Over 30 plus. Anyway, conductor and musician and a fine fellow.
And Mr. President, fellow Rotarians, again, for the second time, I'd like to introduce a good friend, Sherry Musdell, who is a realtor in Escondido. And I also want to welcome our Zooming Rotarians, Ken Manel, Fred Baranowski, Dan Sundquist, Vate Campbell, Chuck Ailing, Kelly Cloud, Jill Campbell, Ione Rummery, Charito Rickenbacher, Bernadette Blaney, Roxanne Rostamian, and if I missed anybody, I apologize. I've been running.
Well, President Vaughn, fellow Rotarians, the reason I'm grinning so widely right now is we're going to have a landmark attendance number with the attendance we have here today. And with that, we're building back up, we're getting our energy back, and that's fantastic. I also have the privilege of introducing a visiting Rotarian today, CJ Zeitel. Carol, would you please stand up? Member of the After 5 Club. From what club? Oh, Lindsay. What club? Okay, we have another visiting Rotarian today, Lindsay Boddicker from the San Diego Coastal Rotary Club. Please stand up. CJ, you know you're supposed to. Yeah. And while you're still standing, smooth, huh? We'd like to sing our guests and our visiting Rotarians our welcome song. Howdy, we're glad to have you here. Welcome. We sing it loud and clear. Relax. Enjoy the program. And won't you come back to see us again?
Yeah, I don't know, past President Andy, I think we're approaching 60 today. Wow. Last week we had 37. So if we have 60 this week, next week we could have 90? Why not? Why not? All right. CJ is going to make a special announcement. Now yeah, they need to see you better. And besides that, did you know she was a founding president?
I'm the
Wow.
Yes, I am. And I was inducted into this club in 1987 as I believe the fifth woman after the Supreme Court changed their mind about women. Anyway, I know that a lot of you are probably staying home, and we changed our minds several times about our fundraiser, but we're going through with it. It is February 26th. It is a gala, calling a Great Gatsby Gala. Don't let that scare you, because you don't have to dress up like you're in the roaring 20s if you don't want to, but if you do, it's a blast. So I won't go on and take any more time. There's some information up there. If anybody wants more information, either contact Keith or somebody. A lot of you know me from the old days, which is why I know that Howdy song so well. So it's our 10th anniversary after we chartered 10 years ago. So we're celebrating two things, and Al Owens as our recipient of his community award. So thank you for the time.
By the way, you can also check your Centerview for information on registering for this event. So we do have funeral services at Emmanuel Faith on February 12th. We all know and miss Delisle. And so that information also on the Centerview and up here, whatever you would like to participate in, please do so. I thought you'd like to see his photograph as the young man. He's a little bit younger than I was when I was his age. I think that's how that came out. Yeah. Anyway, upcoming speakers, you have them right there up through the 1st of March. And I believe on the 8th of March, we're going to have a rotating meeting. Is that correct? Right. So we will be dark on the 8th, but you'll be out having fun with your fellow Rotarians. And we have some birthday celebrities today. And I'd like to have those stand as their names are read.
Thank you, President Vaughn, and good afternoon, Rotarians. Okay, we got a couple, not too many this month. Elmer Cameron on the 4th, Marilyn Mukamela on the 9th, and she was the first woman inducted into this club. Kristen Bush on the 16th, Amy Wondolowski on the 18th, Henry Freet on the 22nd, and Dick Daniels on the 24th. Let's sing them all a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
And thank you, Henry. Oh, I didn't know this slide was here. How'd you get this in, Andy? I don't know what's coming up, but I do know that Andy's got an important announcement. Oops.
Mr. Angel, will you join us, please? Greg Angel is far more than his name suggests. His life is devoted to helping others. Greg earned his wings as a volunteer coordinator at Interfaith, eventually flying up to his current position as CEO of Interfaith Community Services based in Escondido, which qualifies him to be our chief angel, Gabriel.
You know, we have a lot of really great people in this club, and it makes it a special experience to be associated with all of you. Okay, so this is the first meeting of the month, and it's time to identify the Rotarian of the month. And I am really pleased to indicate that Ron Smith is January's Rotarian of the month. Mr. Smith, would you please come forward? Ron needs no introduction to this group, clearly. Well, besides being an ex-principal and one of the better-looking principals that we've ever had in Escondido, Ron has been managing this club from the curtains for 10 years. Is that right? Off and on. Yeah, and he's kind of the ever-ready guy in my mind, and he's been a great help in this year's presidency so far. But Ron, we want you to feel a special gratitude. Ron has announced his retirement as executive secretary after that long period of service, and past President Andrew Kerwin will be the next executive secretary, taking effect in July 1.
You guys know you just got an upgrade.
Well, it's always nice to have an upgrade. Anyway, Ron, I personally feel very, very grateful for the service you've given and January is just a representative month of every month you've been in the club. And I know you're going to finish up the same way, but with all our love and appreciation. A most well-deserved award. Yes. Where? Oh, Maryland. All right, very good. Okay, well, I hope you aren't going to take a whole bunch of time. You've got so many clues here. If you've had your thinking hat on, you should be able to come up with this person's ID. Linda Stanwood is our chairperson over mystery member activities, so I'm going to let her take over.
So if you didn't read this during our lunch, you get a chance to look at this now. We have a really interesting mystery guest today. In case you've forgotten, because it's been a while since we did this, these are clues about somebody in the club. And obviously this person is a longtime Escondido person and also has some interest in wealth. Between working for Bank of America and the Gemological Institute, and has a lot of exposure to the public in terms of singing and selling crafts door to door. So this is the way this works. You can look at those clues and come up with a guess, or you can ask me questions about the person and I will tell you an answer if I know. So I think, Andy, somebody has the microphone. Does anybody have a question about our mystery guest? Here, Jan has a question. Yes. How did you guess that? Yeah. 50-50. That was a 50-50 shot. That was a good one. More questions.
Does this person live near a golf course?
I don't know the answer to
Oh,
that.
man.
I've never been to her house. No. No. Yes. Is she involved in what? No. Yes. No. Well, she sang in front of her celebrity crush, but no, she's not a singer by profession. Yes, she is.
Does she have political connections?
Yes, she does. Go ahead. Yes. I'm sorry. I could say I don't know, but I think what I'll say is that's not a question I think I'm going to answer. Yes, Jan. Yes, she does. In case you didn't hear that, the question was, does she serve on the city council? So now does everybody know who this is? So Consuelo, why don't you come up and tell us about a couple of these things? Some of them are really fascinating. I'd like to know who your celebrity crush was, for one.
Hi, everyone. So let's see. So my roots going back to the 50s. Obviously, I wasn't born in the 50s. I learned something not too long ago. So my family came to Escondido in the early 80s. However, my grandfather's brother was a bracero here. And in case you know, the Escondido Transit Center used to be where the braceros lived and had temporary encampments when they were, used here when their labor was used here in the United States. I am starting a new business. In fact, my new business is something that a hobby that developed during the pandemic. So I started just loving thrift shopping, and I love to decorate. In case any of you have ever been in my office, it's very nice. In fact, I've inspired all my colleagues to redecorate their offices. So I sell secondhand home goods and accessories. It's good for the environment. You're keeping things out of the landfill, and it's fun to shop, like go treasure hunting, and then somebody gets to love what you buy. So that's my new shop. It's called Hidden City Finds. My celebrity crush is Jordan Knight from the New Kids on the Block, and he is still my celebrity crush. And the New Kids on the Block were big in the 80s and late 80s, early 90s, so I'm dating myself. And they reunited 15 years later, and they've been together as a reunited band longer than they were actually the New Kids on the Block. And in fact, I'm probably going to go to their concert in this summer when they're back in San Diego. So they're still touring. And so Jordan Knight did this Jordan Idol in a Hollywood nightclub, and I wanted to meet him. And so I got over my fear of singing in public, and I auditioned for him, and I got to meet him. So that was exciting. Any questions you all have? Okay, the Bank of America, my first job when I was at Escondido High, I had a internship program. So at 15 and a half years old, I started interning at Bank of America right here across the street. And then at 16 years old, they hired me. So my first job was a bank teller at Bank of America. And Ron Smith was my principal at Central Elementary. And I also served with him on the Community Services Commission when I was in my 20s. So that was kind of cool. Justin. Oh, so Mac has not asked me for decorating advice. In fact, he had his office decorated already, and it's all military, But he comes into my office often and compliments me on my office decor, right, Mac? He always comments on it. But my other colleagues, Marasco, Insco, and Garcia, have all, they come in my office and they've all redecorated since then. So I'm happy that I inspired them in that way. Anything else? All right, thank you all for.
Jay Grossman will now honor us again with one of his many versions of whatever.
Actually, what's the button that goes to that one right there? That one? So this is first. Okay.
So this was actually written by Kristen Montan, okay? And she couldn't be here, so she asked if I would sing it. And then I've been working on the railroad, and at first it was going to be for Lindsay, then it was going to be for Bert Grossman. Now it's back for Lindsay, so here we go. Okay. Adaptive sports and recreation, so all kids can play. Adaptive sports and recreation is what we'll hear about today. Building leadership and life skills, confidence, it's true. Opportunities abound there. Friendships happen too. Rotarians, did you know? Neighbors, did you know? Sports can be adapted so all can play and go. Someone's on the playground with Lindsay. Someone's on the playing field, Someone's on the playing field with Lindsay. Watch their faces glow.
Lindsay, you have your own set of words here, so we want to honor you with that as well. So, and now we will invite Dr. Doug to make the formal introduction of our speaker. So we don't want to.
I won't
We don't
touch
want
it.
to anticipate and press this hot pad here. Just use the.
I won't touch anything. President Vaughn, fellow Rotarians, by now you've figured out this is not Bert Grossman. If you read your viewpoint. Lindsay's childhood and education was in Iowa. As a child, she was active in various volunteer activities as well as sports. A degree from the University of Iowa in communication and marketing, and a nonprofit management certificate from the University of San Diego. She's been active, as I mentioned, in various volunteer and service opportunities since her childhood with nonprofits and different local organizations. In 2016, she volunteered with the Junior Adaptive Sports Camp, which we'll hear a little bit about later. And they were so impressed with her enthusiasm, they offered her a job, and she's been their program director since. She's a member of the San Diego Coastal Rotary Club, as you mentioned, joined in 2019. She's recently married, had her first child, a little boy, in August. And we're so happy to have her today.
Good afternoon. So I am going to tell you, a little bit about some different adaptive sports. The timing seems to be good, seeing as the Winter Olympics are about to start. So, wheelchair lacrosse. Many of these sports are very similar to their able-bodied games. Wheelchair lacrosse is one of them that is very similar. I personally am not super familiar with the game of lacrosse, but I'm sure you guys are. So same number of players. Just as in wheelchair tennis and wheelchair basketball, the chair is considered part of your body. So running into another chair intentionally is a foul. Tennis, I'll go back here quick. The lady on the right there plays for Alabama, and she's from San Diego. She grew up coming to our camp, and she's a very good college player at Alabama now. So just like I mentioned, tennis is much the same court, same racket. You can play singles or doubles. The only difference is the ball is allowed to bounce twice. Some players make adaptations for themselves. There's an individual who has played with us who doesn't have full function in both of his arms. So in order to serve, it's amazing, first of all, to hold a racket and push yourself in the chair like you see below. And he will drop the ball. He will hold his foot up and drop the ball with his foot to serve, since he doesn't have function in both of his arms. So it's amazing to watch. And I've tried playing tennis, and it is very difficult to change direction. Basketball is a very popular one, especially amongst kids. So these are some of the tournaments we have had with our adults a few years ago. Obviously, over the last couple of years, we haven't had anything going on. So same court size, same 10-foot hoops, same basketball size. 5 players. how the classification system works. So as players, you are given a classification number based on your disability. If you are an amputee, you are given a higher classification based on where on your leg the amputation is. If it's above the knee, you are probably a 4 or a 4.5. If you are below the knee, it may be a lower middle number, 3.5. The scale is 1 to 4.5. You are only allowed to put 14 points on the court at one time. So you can't have an entire team of 4.5 players. The classification also depends on if your disability is a spinal cord injury, where on your spine you have mobility. If you don't have a lot of trunk control, you may need to hold on to your chair to catch, while you catch the incoming ball as a pass. You may need to stable yourself while you're picking the ball up from the floor. So it all depends on if you need to hold on to your chair or how much trunk strength you have. You may sit at an angle with your rear end down in the chair much more than if you have a lot of trunk support. You may sit very high on your chair. So it really depends how fast you can change direction in your chair, things like that. So it varies a lot. And like I said, your coach, the coach or whoever's organizing the game really has to think about what players are going to have out there on the floor at the same time, because you cannot exceed 14 points. So the Adaptive Sports and Recreation Association was originally part of the City of San Diego Therapeutic Rec Services. And they had many people with disabilities all in the same programs, cognitive disabilities and physical, which a lot of the physical impairments, kids playing in wheelchairs, kind of wanted a more competitive game to play. So that's when the organization kind of broke off to become its own organization. So wheelchair basketball is, like I said, very, very popular. We have got kids as young as 4. We have little tiny wheelchairs. I brought one of the larger ones today, but tennis. And then we also do clinics like kayaking, off-road, like ramps and skateboard sort of thing. It's a very, very scary thing to watch, but the kids are great at it and they pick it up very quickly. Helmets are a must. Our biggest program is the Junior Adaptive Sports Camp, with the last 2 years excluded. I think we are on year 33. So it's a day camp, usually the last week of July. Monday and Tuesday of the week take place in Mission Bay. The kids get to do tubing, kayaking, water skiing, adaptive water skiing, hand cycling, all sorts of things. And then we move the latter half of the week to Miramar College, wheelchair basketball, rugby, lacrosse, archery, swimming, tennis. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. But that's very popular. So I'm going to show you a little bit about camp. Yep, we usually have between 60 and 70 campers between the ages of 4 and 18, mostly from San Diego County, but a couple of the kids have moved away. We've had some come back from Utah, New York. We had 2 boys a few years ago come from South Korea. We've had a couple kids from Mexico too, so it's great to get them involved. Quite a few volunteers are needed during this week. It's a lot of moving equipment around and setting up and tearing down. And I have our video of camp next. This is the video from 2019. And be happy to answer questions while you watch the video here. Yep. Monday and Tuesday are at Crown Point Park. They've been at Miramar College for quite a few years, as long as I've helped out with camp for the second half of the week. And then Saturday morning, the end of the week, we do kind of a family day. Siblings and parents come to the college in the morning and watch the kids and participate, see what they've been doing all week. So we do have help of Mission Bay Aquatics there with the sailboats. It's really a lot of fun to have high school volunteers who, you know, a lot of these are their peers that they've just never interacted with kind of outside of school. So seeing them participate in these activities is really fun. And a lot of the kids don't necessarily go to school with somebody that can, you know, they don't have a lot of kids in PE with them that are kind of having the same disabilities or challenges. The kids' disabilities range from spina bifida, cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, cord injuries. And all your athletic chairs are different. Chair down here is a basketball chair, but a basketball chair is different. So yeah, the chair's different. It's a different chair for basketball, different chair for tennis, different chair for rugby. You can kind of cross over sometimes, but chairs like this cost between $3,000 and $5,000 a piece, and kids grow out of them like they grow out of shoes. So we luckily have a lot of chairs that we can kind of pass between kids and loan them while they're participating. We've unfortunately kind of lost a lot of contact with kids during COVID. They just, you know, like anybody, not very many programs going on. So we're really trying to get in touch with people again and hopefully have them back out at camp this year. So, any questions? We take,
For the Zoom people, can you repeat the question because they can't hear?
the division between birth defects and injury. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly how many. I'd say more are born with their disability, spina bifida, cerebral palsy, things like that. But we certainly do have kids that, have been in accidents or, have had spinal cord injuries. Several colleges do have wheelchair programs. Not too many in California. There are, colleges in Illinois, Minnesota, Alabama has a large athletic program. I'm not sure if it's, alumni who brought that to Alabama. And the East Coast have some. There are not too many out here. So the chairs are all different. This chair down here, the sports chairs cost between $3,000 and $5,000 a piece. Just the frames. Usually, if you are ordering a personal chair, you're going to have it custom made for your measurements, your height, your leg length, things like that. We do have chairs that we've gotten through grants that are ours as an organization that we kind of loan out to kids because we didn't have them specifically made for one person, so they just we fit them to the best and find the best chair that fits them for that activity. I couldn't tell you right now because it's kind of fluctuated quite a bit over the last few years. I'd say camp, the actual cost of camp is probably about $1,000 per child, but we definitely don't turn anyone away. Registration for camp is $225 per child per week, or for the week. But if someone is unable to pay, we don't turn them away. Restaurant donate lunch. Hodad's comes out to the bay, grills up burgers right there. Different restaurants come out, and we do have some sponsors that provide money for campers. Yes. In person, yes. We were able to do a 2-day kind of mini camp for the first time at the Chula Vista Elite Athlete Training Center. It was July 31st and August 1st. Just kind of a mini camp because we didn't know how many kids would come out. And that was a new location for us. So we did it. It was a lot of fun being at a different location. It's certainly something we would try again. If adults wanted to participate too. Usually we just have the kids at the camp, but if we had enough interest from adults, we would definitely try that. But we do have the clinics and basketball and wheelchair tennis year round. Yes. The question was about the participation of adults in our programs versus kids. And at this time we certainly have more kids. We definitely have adults that play wheelchair tennis and wheelchair basketball. However, our number of kids is usually higher. But I would love to do more adult programs. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate that information. What a great community we live in. One of the, we had 3 objectives as we started this year. all of them centered on building relationships. And I feel like we're making good progress on all fronts. In terms of interpersonal relationships among the club, we have just, I think, great friendships, and hopefully we can continue to build more on those. Another objective was to build relationships into the community. And I want to compliment Dr. Moyer. We've had 5 presentations from Escondido's different parts of the government and the services that we get. And just from my own perspective, it's been very helpful to be able to recognize and honor as well as receive information from our city workers and leaders. So compliments Dr. Moyer for that great work. And this is just a great example. I mean, most of you probably had no personal connection with adaptive sports in Escondido, nor perhaps appreciated the extra effort that the community does to respond to these special needs. And what a treat to have your presentation, Lindsay. Please give our gratitude to all those staff members that are doing such a great job. Beyond that, we've had 5 presentations of certificates of appreciation to do our community, from one services, frontline fire, police, public works, parks. So I think you're seeing the big picture. Hopefully you're enjoying this perspective of building a great relationship between the Escondido Club and our community leadership and others involved. So I guess at 12 minutes after 1, you can take a major break before you go back into your activities. I do want to invite everyone. How'd that go? Let's see. I've got one more slide up here, but oh, yeah, well, let's build the team. That's the one on the left bottom. All right, thank you. Have a great week.
This one? Oh, now it's contaminated.